You can self-heal anything yourself, emotional, mental, and physical. All symptoms, including physical ones, are temporary. They are your body's voice shouting about unprocessed emotions. If you are done with making your symptoms permanent, then come to my website link underneath to find out how I can help you to release and rise. I'm Jenny Luscombe, a facilitator of healing and awakening. I point people towards the truth that we do actually have the power to own our own consciousness after all. I'm just about to do my show, Feeling is Healing, on Holistic Radio on Telegram. This happens every Monday, 5 till 6 p.m, where you can listen live and come and join in and ask questions or listen to the replay. I absolutely love my Holistic Radio family. I love doing my show. It's my passion. It's a beautiful example of win-win energy, therapeutic for me, therapeutic for you. Come and discover, explore, live, laugh, learn, listen, enjoy, and gratitude. Hello, everybody. This is Jenny Luscombe, and this is Feeling is Healing. And today we're going to do something a bit different to what we've been doing for the last few weeks. Today, I want to talk about people's bodies. But obviously, there's loads going on with cosmic shenanigans and, eclipses and all sorts of astrology. And when people are sort of pushed in this way, everyone's nervous systems and all the systems of their body, not just their nervous system, everybody is kind of being forced by the universe to see their, what's in their subconscious mind. So if you think about your body as being your subconscious mind, the way that your body communicates with you is through symptoms. So that might be pain, it might be through disease, it might also be through emotions, which also have sensations in the body. I'm picking up from the universe and from people around me that people are really struggling with symptoms and they just don't know how to go about understanding what's happening. So if you are awake and aware enough to kind of get the idea that your body is attempting to communicate with you through a symptom and that your symptoms are actually your body's voice, then this is for you. So if we can get the message that our body is trying to communicate to us, then the symptom doesn't need to remain because that was its purpose and its function. And it might sound a bit crackers, but that's actually the way of the world, and you're not going to hear that from your doctor. So if you become aware of what your body's voice is saying, you can speed up that purge because you are then surfacing subconscious information that was wanting to be made conscious. So if you're consciously engaging with this subconscious process, as soon as you get that message and you start to process that, your symptoms will start to leave. And sometimes that can be instant, and sometimes it can be a process that you're in for over a period of time as that new awareness kind of opens up, and then you realize how that specifically applies to you and where it's come from. So I thought today, and I don't normally do things like this on my show, but I just was kind of drawn to do a collective reading. So if you imagine a group of people, so if you're listening to this, you're in that group of people who are listening to this show in the present moment or in the future moment when you listen to the replay. So that could be quite a large group of people, but and we don't really know how many people listen to our shows, which I kind of like. So yeah, I'm gonna tune in to this group, and then I'm going to use muscle testing on my body to tune into what is in the best interest of this group. So obviously I'm a part of this group, so I'm going to be the representative. So whatever I come up with today is also going to be applying to me. So if you have any specific questions about a symptom in your body and you want to come on the live, or you want to message me, I can give you a hand with that some other time. Okay, so yeah, this is kind of, I'll kind of go through the body code a little bit for you. I'm not going to go into a massive explanation, but it's basically a system that anyone can use. Anyone can go and buy this book, The Body Code by Dr. Bradley Nelson, and anyone can learn to muscle test. And then when you've learned to muscle test, you can ask your body anything, and you can ask the universe anything. It really is very liberating and very freeing. And obviously it's a bit of a spiritual journey, building up the trust that you have in that, or the distrust that you have in that. It actually took me probably a couple of years to fully trust myself when I first started to use this. And yeah, I asked for a few lessons from the universe, actually, and I wanted to know, am I barking up the wrong tree? Am I powerful enough to do this? Are my responses from my body, are they accurate for me and for other people? So I was like a doubting Thomas. I was doubting, and I asked the universe for a bit of a sign. And what I actually received was quite interesting. I think I might have mentioned this before on one of my shows, but it's a good story. So I was kind of, when I first discovered the body code, I was using it on myself and my daughter and any open-minded friends, which at the time I didn't really have that many open-minded friends, to be honest. So it was just sort of me, a couple of people, and my daughter. And I felt that it was working, but I wasn't sure. So I said to the universe, please bring me a sign. And I forgot about it, that I'd asked. And then a thing unfolded. My daughter, who was very small at the time, I think she was about 5, she came home from school all upset because some little boy who'd been put next to her because he was being naughty, and she was a good girl, so obviously that wasn't particularly nice for her to have to put up with him anyway. But yeah, he kind of poked fun at her because she had a wart in her hairline, like quite a big wart, like nobody had ever drawn attention to it before. It was just part of her face. This kid bullied her. What's that? That's ugly, blah blah. She came home upset, and I thought, oh, this is an opportunity for me to tune into her consciousness and help her with that emotion that she's experiencing. So I did that, and I asked the universe, has she got trapped energy in her body that's caused her to attract this bully? And that's the way I said it. I didn't ask anything about the wart itself. I just thought, yeah, she's attracted a bully. She could do without that. And then I found out what the energy was, and then I released it for her, and then I forgot about it. And then a couple of weeks later, she was just getting out of the bath, and I was brushing her hair, and the wart had crumbled away. Like there was a couple of little pieces of it in her hair, like the skin had flaked away, and I hadn't noticed that happening, but it was pretty much almost gone. And there was just this kind of mark on her skin where it was. So that blew me away. And when I checked the rest of her body, because I knew that she had a few warts on her back, they had also gone. So this was a lesson for me that not only was I doing it, it was also happening in ways that I wasn't expecting. And it taught me kind of to make sure that I didn't control anything, and to sometimes expect healings to happen in ways that I wasn't anticipating. So that showed me very clearly that the physical representation of a symptom is actually mutable. It's changeable. It's not permanent. It's temporary. So I don't know if I would have got a different result if I'd tried to get rid of the wart. Like, that wasn't what I was trying to do. Didn't want the wart to leave. It was just part of her. It was the energy behind it that I was dealing with. So yeah, so that's how I knew that what I was doing and all the practice that I'd been doing was working. So I've kind of forgotten where I'm up to. So yeah, this is kind of like when you use muscle testing, it isn't, some people would call it magic, and maybe it is, but it's no different to any other form of divination. So it's kind of like pulling a card, like when you pull a tarot card for somebody, that's just a way of getting a reflection from the universe that that this person would benefit from. So using muscle testing with a system like the body code, it's a way of setting up a conversation with your body so that you can understand what the deeper reasons are for having the symptoms that you have. And then once you understand what the body's telling you, you can focus on that issue consciously to heal it, as opposed to it remaining subconscious. So it's really important to see the body as the subconscious. A lot of people still think that the subconscious mind is sort of somewhere up in your head, in your brain. It's cellular. It's everywhere. So the body is our subconscious mind. It's an archive of all our stories, experiences, beliefs, traumas, and that includes past life things, ancestral stuff that's held in DNA. Yeah, it's all there. So if you are having a physical symptom show itself to you, then this is something that you are actually ready to see and ready to release. Otherwise, it would not be happening. And it is the path of least resistance for you to follow. Otherwise, it wouldn't be happening. So a lot of people have a boatload of sort of limiting beliefs about their problem, particularly if you've had pain for years and it stops you moving about the way that you choose in your life, and it just seems to have become part of you, or a disease that the doctor said you would have forever and it would only get worse or whatever. So yeah, none of these things are true or real. So just have a little think, if you are stuck in symptoms, whether that's mental, emotional, or physical symptoms, or all three, what if they're temporary? What if it just takes a different way of looking at it? So just have your mind really open. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to describe to you the main menu of the body code. And then if you would like to participate, which you don't have to, you can just listen with interest. I'm going to tune into the group consciousness of all those listening to this now and in the future. And I'm going to identify the most helpful aspects that we all have in common as this group, that our bodies would like us to know. So it's kind of interesting and kind of exciting. So they call it the map. So the body code map, there's 6 headings. So there are energies. So that includes emotional energies and any energies kind of outside of you that might be interfering. And then another chapter is pathogens. Another one is misalignments. Another one is circuits and systems. So that will take you to organs and glands and systems of the body. There's another chapter about toxins, and another chapter about nutrition and lifestyle. So when I work with a client, or I work with myself or a friend, I always start on this body code map, and then I'll ask questions, yes, no questions, and then I'll muscle test. And I can do that quite quickly now because I've been doing this quite a while, and I'll get a yes or a no, and then I get directed through the book. So you might, and there is an app actually, which I keep meaning to get, which would be quicker. But I'm going to use the book for today. So let's do it. So if you would like to participate, just set the intention, a healing intention, to access some information about your body that will really help you in your situation, whatever situation that is. Set the intention to surface and attract some information that you really need right now. So I'm going to start. So do we need to go? So for this group, do we need to look on this side? So is it energies? Is it circuits and systems? Is it toxins? That's interesting. So toxins is coming up for us all. So whoever's listening, let's see what happens here. So when we're dealing with toxins, there's another subgroup. So there's heavy metals, biological poisons, food toxins, and drug toxins. So let's see which one we need to go to. So is it on this side? Is it heavy metals? Is it food toxins? Okay, so we're looking at a food toxin. And then we've got another bunch of stuff that it could be. So is it on the top row? Is it food colouring? Is it GMO foods? Oh, this is interesting, right? So this group that we are a part of, we have been asked to have brought into our awareness that we would benefit from probably researching GMO, so genetically modified organisms in our food. So yeah, so basically there's a few bits and pieces here. You know, we're probably already aware that modern scientists are combining the DNA of foods like tomatoes, corn, wheat, etc., with all kinds of other DNA from insects, poisonous plants, all sorts of things. Yeah, it actually says here one of the best documentaries about this topic is called Genetic Roulette. And if you go to, all one word, geneticroulettemovie.com, you can get more information about that. So it's telling us here about 90% of the soybeans and 70% of the corn that is grown in the United States is genetically modified under the label Roundup Ready. 1.8 million tons of which is consumed in the United States annually. Wow. And obviously that toxicity may lead to birth defects and other quite serious problems in the body, including loss of energy and autoimmune disease. And pesticides, also part of this group, are chemicals that are sprayed on fruit and veg to keep insects from damaging the produce before it's sold. So these chemicals are very harmful to the body. Over 850 million pounds of pesticides are used in the industrial farming industry in the United States alone every year. So that's interesting that we've all been pointed towards this. And it's not something that comes up that often. So this feels to me like we're being called to look into what we can do. It's probably best for us all to do our own research on pesticides and GMO foods and what we can do about that. So I guess starting with not buying them, starting with looking into what we are buying and whether that is affected. And just knowing that if we have got symptoms from autoimmune disease and we are feeling low energy, then looking into, things that we can do and ways that we can help ourselves regarding that. So that's really interesting. So I'm going to leave that one with you. So let me just see, is there anything that we need to know about that as a group specifically? Yeah, I'm getting a no. We don't need to know anything specific, but I do think that it could be a thing that we neglect. I mean, I definitely do, because I live sort of in a very urban place. I don't have a lot of access to foods that are, good foods. And it has been niggling at me, actually. There's probably somewhere nearby where I can get a box of stuff, fruit and veg, from a farm. There are farms near where I am, so maybe I need to set the intention to look into that. And I do feel a bit frustrated and trapped by the matrix in that regard. So, yeah, I'm just full of gratitude to the universe for pointing that out to me and everybody else. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the body code map. What else are our bodies calling? What are they wanting us to know? So do we need to look on this side? Is it something from this one? So is it a system? So we've been sent to circuits. So we're looking at organs, glands, and muscle connections. Possibly systems. So are we looking at a system? Is it an organ? Is it a gland? Okay. So we're being taken to a gland in our body. So is it on the right? Is it in the top 3 on the left? Is it the pancreas? Is it the pineal gland? Is it the parathyroid gland? Right. We're being taken to the parathyroid. So feel free to research this gland for your own information. So the parathyroid gland is in your throat. So this is screaming throat chakra. So it's also very connected to the root chakra as well. So the parathyroid, so yeah, already it's shouting at me, safety to speak. So the parathyroid glands consist of 4 small glands situated on the backside of the thyroid gland. And the purpose of the parathyroid gland is to produce parathyroid hormone. So that's a hormone that controls the amount of calcium in the blood and bones. So if you have symptoms of parathyroid gland imbalance, and there's loads of them, oh my god. Yeah, so having trapped emotion there can imbalance the parathyroid. There can be all sorts of reasons why it might be imbalanced, but it's usually trapped energy. Yeah, so it's kind of like the thyroid where you can overproduce or underproduce. So it depends on whether you're overproducing or underproducing. So if you're underproducing this hormone, hypoparathyroidism, then you might have low blood calcium levels. You might have muscle spasms, especially in the hands and feet. You might have fatigue, headaches, insomnia. You might have tingling around your mouth or extremities. But if it's common symptoms of hyperparathyroidism, so overproduction of that hormone, then you might have symptoms like kidney stones, excessive urination, gallstones, fatigue, nausea, bone pain, abdominal pain, low energy or weakness, depression symptoms, heart issues, short-term memory loss, vomiting, osteoporosis, elevated blood calcium levels. You may not have any of those symptoms, but could still have an emotional imbalance there. So in addition to that, it's quite interesting because the body code, it's obviously very holistic, and it points to each gland and organ of the body also has muscle connections, which is quite illuminating. So the parathyroid, which is in the throat area, it connects to the levator scapulae muscle. So any imbalance in the parathyroid will tend to result in neck or shoulder discomfort. So think about that in terms of your own sensation in the body. Basically that muscle that I just said, the levator scapulae muscle, if you just shrug your shoulders now, like just shrug your shoulders as if you're saying, I don't know, like people do when you lift your shoulders up like that. So this muscle connected to the parathyroid is activated when a person shrugs the shoulders. So if you shrug your shoulders and you get like a pulling sensation or any pain there, then this might apply to you. So interestingly, all of these symptoms, if you have any of those and they are connected to your parathyroid being imbalanced, it's often connected to a list of emotions that are row 6 of the emotion code chart. So I'm just going to test that now and see if that's the case for this group. So this group that is listening to this show, do we have some sort of imbalance in our parathyroid? Yes. So we've had that confirmed. And is this row 6 of the emotion code chart energy that is trapped there? That's a yes. And is there any other energy trapped there connected to this imbalance? No. Okay, so is this from more than one place? Yes. So for this group, is this coming from this particular life? Yes. Is it coming from the womb experience? No. Is it coming from past life? Yes. Is it coming from ancestral energy? On both sides of our family lines? No. On mum's side? Yes. On dad's side? No. So that's true for everyone who's listening. Yes. So we've got 10 emotions that are causing some sort of blockage or imbalance in the parathyroid. So when you metaphorically look at that, this is about self-expression because it's throat chakra. It's also about free will because it's in the neck area, and it's also connected with safety and stability and sturdiness, like anything that you associate with the root chakra. So the emotions are humiliation, jealousy. So the jealousy here is not necessarily, oh, someone's got something I want and now I'm jealous as hell. It's not necessarily that. Jealousy in the emotion code and body code is often lack, like a lack, a general sort of sense of lack. So humiliation, jealousy and lack, longing, lust, not necessarily a sexual lust, but sometimes, but mainly the lust here is craving, and overwhelm. So that's the first five. It's humiliation, jealousy and lack, longing, lust, overwhelm, pride, shame, shock, unworthy, and worthless. So it seems like a lot and it seems really intense, but actually see that as all one thing. Because most emotional experiences, most traumas, things that happen, they're not just one emotion. They're normally a kind of like amalgamation of a few things all rolled together. So kind of see it like a cloud of energy. So what you can do if you want to tune into that and to release it, you don't actually have to do anything at all. You can, if you want, go in and meditate on that and pull it apart and think about how that relates to you. And all of that is brilliant because you're bringing conscious awareness to the issue. And contemplation and conscious awareness is definitely, in my opinion, the way forward to help the body release. But you don't have to. And quite honestly, with all the everything that's happening right now, I feel like you just have to set a healing intention at this point, and the universe needs as much help as it can get. So anyone that wants to release this imbalance can just do that now through the breath. So I always, with clients, I use magnetic energy with that. So I use a magnet along my meridian line, which amplifies intention. So I'm setting a healing intention to help everybody, including myself, release this imbalance to the parathyroid that's affecting our self-expression, wherever it's come from this life, from past lives, from ancestral energy on mum's side. So if you breathe in for 4 and then hold for about 2 seconds, and then release for about 8. Just allowing your body to release that energy, and just set the intention to do that. And your body knows what to do, and your body can hear this and is listening. So just do that again. Breathe in for 4. Hold it. And then breathe out for 8. And then just allow your body to just sink into that release. And then just feel gratitude for having that show itself to you today. And just wonder how it applies to you. And wonder to yourself, I wonder how this is going to help me. I wonder how I will notice in my life something change because I brought this into my conscious awareness from my subconscious. And then just thank your body for showing you. And then just breathe into that again. And then breathe out. Okay. So that's been interesting so far. So we had the GMO foods. Our bodies are shouting at us to look into what we can do for our bodies to detox from that and to maybe rethink our food purchases, maybe do some research. So I love that. And that isn't something that comes up that often. So maybe that's a thing for us who are listening, this particular group. And then 10 emotions from the emotion code chart from row 6. So you can just Google the emotion code chart and you can have a look on there again at those emotions that you have been surfacing and identifying and releasing. So let's just ask, so is there another thing that we can identify and release safely for this group today that is in our best and highest good? So that's a yes. So I'm going to go back to the map again. So do we need to look on this side? Is it in this box? Is it in this one? So is it a system? Okay, so a system of our body is shouting at us. So is it on the right? Is it in the top 3 on the left? Is it the muscular system? The respiratory system? The reproductive system? Aha! This is literally my favorite place to release energy from. So the reproductive system, obviously this is what ensures our survival as a species, but it's also our center for creation. So do we need to look at a specific part of the reproductive system? No. So this is the system as a whole. Yeah, so I always, anything like the reproductive system works closely with a lot of other organs and organ systems. For example, the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland, they help to regulate the production and release of hormones such as estrogen and testosterone. And then obviously it's all to do with fertilization and growth and development. So if you think about all of this metaphorically, you know, the egg or the ovum, like the pure potential of that. Like when clients come to me and they ask about, you know, is there something blocking me from my life's purpose, or is there something I'm not getting about my business? You know, the reproductive system pretty much 100% of the time will come up. So if there's something going on for you where it feels like you just can't seem to get your creation going, or and think about that in lots of different ways. Like this can apply to a relationship. You can't quite create the relationship you want, or you can't create the work that you want, or you can't create the life that you want. So whatever way you look at it as applies to you, it's come up for us that are in this group. So let's see what this is. So what is this energy that we've got trapped here? So is this row 1 of the chart? It's normally row 6 actually again, so that's interesting. Let me just check that. Is it row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5? Yeah, it's row 6 again. Boom. So we've got row 6 energy. So the same 10 emotions are trapped here, which does make sense that it would be the same energy again. So is this from this life? Yes. From the womb? No. From past lives? Yes. From mum's ancestral line? Yes. From dad's? No. It's the same energy. So the same energy that we identified before in the parathyroid is also trapped in the reproductive system. And they kind of go together if you think about it. Because creativity, which the reproductive system is metaphorically representing, is very, very much connected to self-expression with the parathyroid, and safety to do that with the root chakra. So is there anything else we need to know about that? No. And is it safe for us to release that? Yes. So I'm just going to set the intention to help us release that again. So just do the same process that we did before with your breathing. So breathe in for 4, hold for 2 or 3, and then release for about 8. And then do that 3 times and just kind of sink into your reproductive system, and then just watch any energy if it comes up. If nothing comes up and you don't see anything, it doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. You don't have to do anything. Like, you can't get it wrong. You can't keep the energy once you've set the intention to release it. Because your body can hear this and your body knows what to do. So it's an exercise in trusting your body. But even if you don't trust your body, you're still going to release it because it's time. Otherwise you wouldn't have heard this. So just breathe again. And we're setting the intention to release the same energy again from row 6 of the emotion code chart, from all the parts of our reproductive systems to do with creation, as that applies to us specifically and our lives specifically. Thank you for the lessons. You can leave now. You can leave now. You can leave now. We wish this energy well. And then just breathe again. And then just sink into that, and then just keep doing that breathing a few times, and just feel really appreciative of your body. Your body knows what to do. Like, this is ancient. This is like an ancient way to heal yourself. You just say that you want to. You just tune in and you find the thing, you notice it, you allow your body to work that out for you in the best way, in the most gentle way. And you don't have to know, you don't have to analyze. You can do, and sometimes it does help the process depending on who you are. I think contemplation is one of the best forms of healing. So that's really interesting. So we've got row 6 energy in the reproductive system and the parathyroid. So what time is it? Okay, does anybody who's listening want to ask a question specifically about a symptom that they've got, or that they want to know about on behalf of somebody else, or something they're curious about? And it's okay if you don't.
No, I'm absorbing what you've been saying. It's been quite interesting, actually, to be fair.
Yeah, it's a brilliant system, and because anybody can use it, and it's all there. Like, you don't have to be a doctor. You don't have to have had any training. Like, all you need really is to set a healing intention and to believe that you can choose. Believe that you can, you can receive messages from your body. You can learn about why your body might be doing that. You can look at how that applies to you, and then you can release it. And then in the release, like as the body releases that energy, if there was anything that you needed to know in order to release that, it will come up. Something will show you. So let's see if there's anything else. So is there anything else that the universe would like to show this group that their bodies are waving a flag at us about? Is there something else that would benefit? So I'm getting a yes, so there is something else. So let's have a look. So where do we need to look? Is it on this side? Is it circuits and systems again? Is it a system? Oh, okay. So it's a system again. So is it on the right? Is it in the top 3 on the left? Is it the integumentary system? The urinary system? The skeletal system? Right. So something's coming up for our skeletal systems. So is that the connective tissue? Is that the skeleton as a whole? No. Right, so this is our connective tissue is calling. So is that the tendon? Is it the fascia? Is it the ligament? Is it the discs? Wow, this is very specific. So the connective tissue, so just have a look at that metaphorically. If you've got some kind of energy trapped in your body in the connective tissue, your body would have trapped energy in the connective tissue because it's something to do with connection. The body really is that literal. So there's 4 aspects to connective tissue: the tendon, the fascia, the ligament, and the disc. And the discs have come up. So normally when we get connective tissue, it's all of those, like it's a general kind of pattern of energy in the body. So if you think about the discs as being the shock absorbers of the body, you can think of each disc as being like a jelly, sort of like a jelly donut made of concentric layers of cartilage surrounding a sort of, I don't know how to say that word, gelatinous center called the nucleus pulposus. So yeah, it's a really good design because it's like a ball bearing between each vertebra. So sometimes the discs will bulge, and when they do, they obviously put pressure on the spinal nerve, which is quite close by. And when that nerve is compressed, then this either results in pain or some sort of numbness or tingling, usually in the arm or the leg. So the general rule of thumb is that the more pressure there is on a nerve, the worse the numbness or tingling will be. So if the pressure gets bad enough, there will be total sort of anesthesia, or like you can't feel that at all. So yeah, like the people really worry about these kind of things. But obviously, if you have symptoms like this and they don't seem to improve, whatever you do with them, then you should obviously refer to a chiropractor or doctor or somebody that can help you. But if you look at this in a metaphorical way, the manifestation of something like this is always it's always going to be about pressure. It's always going to be connected to pressure, trapped energy about pressure. And in the body, in the spine, anything to do with the spine, that's kind of like the information superhighway of the body. So it has quite a far-reaching impact in the rest of the body. And the skeleton generally, it's going to be some sort of energy around protection and what was I thinking? Basically, if you think about the spine and what it does, like standing for yourself or standing up for yourself, standing in your own energy. You know, people say he's got no backbone, or people will use that word backbone in a way that sort of portrays courage or strength or so yeah, this is connected with strength and protection. So in terms of like if there is a disc bulging, if you look at it holistically, the most common thing that causes that is some sort of organ imbalance. And that might sound like a serious thing, but it is usually just trapped energy in an organ. And often it's the kidneys, actually. The kidneys are often the culprit here in connection with the psoas muscles, which support the lumbar spine. So psoas muscles, if you want to research that, it's spelled PSOAS. So yeah, it's not necessarily one thing with the disc, but let's find out anyway why we've manifested this. So is there specific trapped energy being shown to us because we've been given information about the discs in the connective tissue? And is that the same energy from before? So it's the same 10 emotions. That's interesting. From the same places. That's interesting. And do we need to look at any organs or anything connected to that? No. Okay. So again, just set a healing intention for your body to help you with that imbalance. And all that we're actually doing is we're observing that there could be energy there that is ready to leave. Otherwise, you wouldn't have attracted this information. So just again, breathe in and then hold and then breathe out for 8 and then just sink into your body and just let your body do that for you. So we're setting the intention to the universe for this group to release this energy from row 6 of the emotion code chart, these 10 emotions from this life, from past lives, from mum's ancestral line. Thank you for the lessons. You can leave now, you can leave now, you can leave now, and we wish this energy well. Thank you, thank you, thank you, please, and thank you. And then just breathe in again. And just have gratitude for your body that knows what to do. Just hand your trust to your body. And it's so interesting how, we live with these conditions for years and years and years because we think we have to, because we've been programmed to believe that it's complicated or time-consuming or difficult to heal that. But it doesn't have to be. And there have been some absolutely bonkers, crazy things that have happened to clients when we've addressed energy this way. And this isn't the only way that I work, and it doesn't suit everybody. It suits certain people. So yeah, if you want to find out anything else about this, then get in touch with me. Or if you just want to ask a question, I've got this symptom, what could it be connected to? I always recommend Louise Hay's list, which is always very illuminating. I mean, what does she say about the discs? Let's see. And I do find her list mind-blowingly accurate. Yeah, so yeah, she's kind of referring to the discs as being around support, which they do tend to be, and particularly around the hips as well, are often it's about support. So a slipped disc, for example, or like a swollen area there, is connected to sometimes indecisiveness, but generally feeling unsupported by life. She suggests an affirmation: life supports all of my thoughts, therefore I love and approve of myself and all is well. I don't think she will have the parathyroid on her list, but let's see. No. That's so interesting. Yeah. I think it's going to be closely connected to what she says about the thyroid because it's in the same area. And interestingly, she says humiliation, which is what came up for us. So that's kind of confirmed that. So, if someone will say, I never get to do what I want to do. When is it going to be my turn? That's what she says is connected to hyperthyroidism and hypothyroidism. And I think that's going to be very similar to what we've been looking at today. I'm just going to test that. So is that closely connected to the parathyroid, what we've been talking about today and what we identified? Yeah, that's so interesting. Because I was actually, talking about that the other day with a friend. I never get to do what I want to do. When is it going to be my turn? That's so common as well, that belief system. So think about that in relation to yourself. Is that what you're saying to yourself? Because that's the energy that we've just been looking at. So she recommends the affirmation, I move beyond old limitations and I now allow myself to express freely and creatively. How interesting. It all kind of like lines up with what popped up with the reproductive system as well. So yeah, I love it because there's always a theme. Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that and that it resonated with you, and keep breathing into that. And just know that if you do set the intention to release energy connected to all of that, make sure that you stay hydrated, drink plenty of water with a pinch of Celtic salt in it. And then program your water for what you would rather have. You know, I like to sort of do some healing and then program the water for the opposite of that, so that you bring in the wanted, as well as focusing on that unwanted and moving that out, you bring in the wanted. But yeah, that was so interesting doing that. I'm really glad that I did that. And yeah, I'm thinking of doing some very, very short videos on that regularly, kind of tuning into what's going on for people's bodies, because mainly because, you know, part of what I do is it's really normal to me, but for other people, I sometimes forget that people don't know a lot of this, because I've been on this journey for quite a while, like quite a few years. Every now and then when I talk to people about this, I'm quite shocked by people's surprise that there's millions of people around the world like working in alternative ways. Some people just have never heard of this approach at all. So yeah, I find it quite fascinating. All right, so I'll finish there anyway. But if Andy or Jackie that are listening would like to ask anything or join in, then
So,
feel
am I
free.
right in having listened to everything that you've said? So everything that you've done today has been within and around the gene keys thing itself.
No, not the gene keys, the body code.
Right. What's the difference between the body code and the gene keys?
Um, yeah, it's a completely different thing, but you can combine them if you want. The gene keys is based on astrology and the I Ching. It's kind of similar to human design, and you can access from their website a free profile, which is derived from your birth date and your time of birth and all of that, and then that shows you the collection of shadows and masteries that you've chosen to come into this life to learn about. So that's the gene keys. I
Right.
sometimes will combine that modality with some of my other ones. The body code is basically just a system to support people to tune into their own bodies and to ask for information about symptoms, or not just physical symptoms, but if you're having emotional stuff or mental stuff, or even just circumstances in your life, and you're aware enough to realize that it's probably coming from you, you're projecting something out into the universe that's causing your problem, whatever that is, then you can use the body code to identify and release where in your body you're holding that thing that's causing that, if you see what I mean. And then when you observe and identify the energy that's causing your problem, then that symptom, whether that's mental, emotional, or physical, or circumstantial, it has to start to release, it has to change somehow, because you've observed it and you've witnessed it. So the body code is part of a system where there's the emotion code came first, then the body code, and then the belief code. But the body code you can actually use for all of those, if you see what I mean. If you know what you're doing and you've kind of taken all the different
Well, I
chapters.
look forward to hearing more about this then. If you're going to do more on it, that's going to be a fascinating route.
Yeah, I might do. I might do. I did a show, I think it was last summer, talking about this. But I did, what did I do? I can't remember now if I did. I think I did do a collective session, but it was more people came on and then asked about their symptoms. Like I remember somebody asking about their feet, something to do with their feet. And
Right. Okay.
um, yeah, I could do that next week actually. I could be
All right.
organised, plan in advance.
Well, thanks again, Jen. Absolutely awesome.
Oh, thanks, Andy. You're welcome.
Oh, we've had a few people popping in and out, but Jackie's mainly been here. She actually popped out a little bit and then come back. But I don't know if she's finished washing up. But have you finished the washing, Jackie?
I have, and I even had to jump in the car and drive. Jenny, that was amazing. I'll talk to you a little bit more once you stop recording.
Okay, yeah, brilliant. Do you think people would be interested in me doing a show next week about symptoms, and then people can come on and ask what's the translation? What's my body saying to me that I don't get? You know, because it's so strange how sometimes as soon as people know what it's about, the symptom starts to subside, and sometimes that can happen really fast. It's
Well,
weird.
my little thing on that would be is have a go, give it a go, see what happens, and if there are people on that can contribute and ask, and you can explain how it all works again, and the more you say it, the more it sinks in. Then yeah, fantastic, brilliant idea.
Yeah. All right.
I'd also like to say, Jen, that this is very in sync with what Litmus was talking about yesterday. I think it was yesterday, day before, I can't remember. I was listening back to the show. It's very in sync with what's going on at the moment. So yeah, I reckon people would be really interested.
Oh, that's interesting, Jackie. Because I think Litmus actually said recently, I can't remember which show it was, but I remember him saying it's weird how everyone's shows are. Well, it's not that weird, is it? It's just synchronicity. Everyone's shows are kind of blending together, and we're all tuning into what's current, and it's coming through in all the different ways that we can bring it through. So yeah, I love it. I love that. I'll have to listen to some of his nuggets now.
If you want to wrap the recording up with a few final words, Jen, and then we can stop the recording and have a chat afterwards.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I think I'll do that then, because I am going to start trying to do some regular stuff on social media. And I always say this because I'm not very consistent at the moment and getting taken away by other things. But yeah, I'd like to do some of this kind of stuff just to help, just to introduce the idea to folks that there's a reason for symptoms. Like it's not just the cross that we have to bear. You know, we've got this disease or this problem or this pain, this, you know, these things don't just happen randomly. There's a reason for it, and it's just energy being shown to us. Once we understand that it's a message, and you know, if we receive that message, then that symptom has done its job. It's played itself out. It no longer needs to be in existence. It will subside. It's like, here's an example. Like I wasn't using the emotion and body code years ago. Like I first, when I got into the healing world, I started to use tapping. So EFT tapping was my first exploration into healing myself because, well, I was having a nervous breakdown, and tapping was suggested to me by a therapist that I was seeing. And when I started to use tapping, I was working on emotional stuff and mental stuff. And at the time, I had chronic pain. So I wasn't directly addressing the chronic pain that I had because my belief system didn't support that my chronic pain was anything to do with the emotion that I was experiencing. But as I got into tapping, and I was having profound shifts of consciousness, and it was really helping me release emotional and mental blocks and limiting beliefs. I was doing it for about a year, and then I decided to train as a EFT practitioner. And I remember when I was doing the training that my back pain had already started to subside. And I actually asked in the group, I said to the trainer, is it? And I felt like a bit silly because I thought, what, everyone's going to think I'm weird asking this question, because I thought that can't be true. I'd already had the thought. And so I put my hand up and I said, so, I've been tapping for about a year. Is it possible that this emotional freedom techniques, that this tapping has helped my body? It's helped my pain subside? And the trainer said, of course, Jenny. Like, all that's happened is that while you've been dealing with your emotions, you've been releasing the energy, the exact energy that was manifesting in your back physically. Boom. So I was like, oh, so I actually healed chronic pain by accident. Like, I never intended to heal the pain. I didn't know that that's what I was doing when I was tapping. I was releasing emotional and mental energy intentionally, but that was also subsiding the pain in my body, because the pain in my body was my body's message. My body no longer needed to communicate with me in that way because I was already doing it. And that's why the pain started to subside. So I've had quite a few things like that go on in my life, just to teach me that that's what's happening, so I can teach you. But yeah, like, I do feel like people are not really dealing with their emotion and their mental stuff in these very, very high energies, because they don't know how, and the bodies are screaming and shouting, and people's symptoms are getting worse and worse and worse. So yeah, next week I'll do the show on the same thing, but yeah. So if you want to come on the live, bring along a symptom to ask about, and then we'll see how many people we can get through, because it's kind of obvious as well when you realize as well, like, it's very, very obvious, like what happened today, like in the connective tissue. If you've got a connective tissue problem, it's because you've trapped energy about connection. So there's probably been trauma about a lack of connection. If you've got energy, if you've got something going on with your hips and your spine, which is obviously, that those parts are to support your body. It's often about a lack of support that you haven't processed. It's really literal. And anything to do with legs and feet is often about, I don't know how to move forward. I can't go forward. I can't go on. It's kind of obvious, but it's a completely different way of thinking if you are plugged into the Matrix's way of doing things. So yeah, I'll stop talking now, and we'll do that next week. So yeah, come along, bring your symptoms, and I'll translate them for you next Monday at 5 o'clock. So see you then.
Thank you so much for listening and watching. If you got inspired, then I would be so grateful for you clicking the like button, subscribing to the channel, commenting underneath, and sharing with someone you think it might help. And if there is something that you are personally working on, that you are finding it hard, then ask under the video. Let's start a conversation that others can also benefit from. What have you tried that's worked? What have you tried that hasn't? Self-healing is the way, and it is mainstreaming. Let's help each other. Lots of love. I look forward to seeing you here again.